Good evening and welcome to TV16's Live at 5. I'm Amy Murray.
And I'm Matt Dobson. A forgery suspect is on the loose in Little Rock.
And a fake beard bandit has pled guilty to robbing 8 banks in 4 states.
We'll have all that and more, but first, your TV16 news starts right now. The cost to remove asbestos from 4 buildings destroyed by a fire in Kensett has left some city officials wishing the block would just be left to rot. Mayor Max McDonald announced the destroyed buildings tested positive for asbestos. The estimate for the cleanup is over $22,000 per building. A few council members said the city might be able to remove the contaminated material themselves as long as it is watered down to prevent particles from becoming airborne.
The U.S. Postal Service is closing mail processing centers in Hot Springs and Jonesboro and transferring them to Little Rock and Memphis. Chief Operating Officer Megan Brennan says consolidating postal operations is necessary to keep the postal office afloat. The Postal Service says it's experienced a 25% decline in first-class mail since 2006. The Postal Service has not set a date for the closures.
The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office is looking for a woman who has 14 felony warrants for forgery. Tamara Durrell is accused of stealing checks sent to her husband out of his mailbox and using them at various businesses around town. According to the sheriff's report, Durrell and her husband are in the process of divorce. Anyone with information on her whereabouts can contact the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office.
The fake beard bandit pleaded guilty to 8 bank robberies in 4 states. Jason Andrew Day entered his plea Thursday in federal court in Fort Smith. Day was arrested on August 26th. Court records show that Day is accused of taking more than $70,000 from banks in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas. His sentencing has not yet been set.
Police responded to a call in Little Rock Thursday morning for a disturbance, and the SWAT team was called in. Police say Wendy Salguero called 911 at around 4 a.m. and said her boyfriend assaulted her. When police arrived, no one answered the door, but the lights were turning on and off in the apartment. The SWAT team forced their way into the apartment around 7 a.m. and arrested 35-year-old Lanny Ward. Ward was charged with violating a protection order on Salguero. A suspect of a Cabot pawn shop shooting pled guilty to capital murder. David Derryberry pled guilty to the murder of Cabot pawn shop owner Billy Pipkin in addition to aggravated robbery, arson, 26 counts of theft of property. Derryberry was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Pipkin's store, KBC Pawn, was set on fire on April 4th. Firefighters found Pipkin inside the shop, and investigators later determined that Pipkin was shot and property was taken from the store.
A Harding University art professor is getting her own art show. TV16's Lauren Sharf has more on the story.
Beverly Austin has traveled to Honduras and Italy for mission work and to broaden her knowledge of art. There she learned different techniques studying under Tiziano Bonanni and School of Art. Artwork in the gallery shows these techniques, and now she teaches her students the same.
Until you've got enough layers. One is an underpainting technique that's a little different that a lot of the Italian painters are doing, and the other is a modern fresco technique. And so this semester my students have been able to do that quite well. And it's similar to what Michelangelo did in the Sistine Chapel.
While she was in Honduras, she did murals in the churches that were built by the mission groups. There is where her hardest but favorite painting came from.
This rooster and his neighboring roosters would keep us awake like from 2 in the morning. So chasing the rooster around, trying to make photographs of him so I could do the painting later was hilarious. And then I couldn't get good photos, so I had quite a struggle working from my fuzzy photos to do that painting.
Austin also told me to go see the painting with a girl named Yanni, holding her very first doll.
The picture does not express nearly how excited she was to get that doll.
Many of the art pieces in the gallery are done from location, while others are from photographs in the studio.
So it's really important to work from life as often as possible.
Austin teaches more than just art. As you can tell, she teaches life lessons too. Reporting for TV16 News, I'm Lauren Sharf.
The gallery in Harding's Art Building is open every day from 8 to 5. Austin's show is on display through March 2nd. And now Zach Green is back with us today with Severe Weather Awareness Week tips to keep you safe during severe weather. Tonight is part 2 of the 2-part series. Zach?
Good evening and welcome again. We have part 2 of Severe Weather Awareness Week. We'll start off with lightning. The area near a lightning strike is 50,000 degrees, which is hotter than the surface of the sun, and lightning may occur as many as 10 miles away from any sort of rainfall. The rubber soles on shoes or in car tires will not protect you from lightning, but the steel frame of a car does provide safety. Heat lightning is caused by thunderstorms and can occur without any thunder. So it's far enough away that you won't even hear the thunder or see the rain. Stay away from higher elevations, avoid poles and towers, and stay away from metal fences and clotheslines as well. Don't use any electrical appliances except in emergency, and motorcycles, scooters, bicycles, and tractors are not safe places to be during thunderstorms. Now we move on to flash floods. Most flash floods occur at night, so this increases the danger because you can't see the rising waters. Flooding is caused by slow-moving storms or storms that train over the same area repeatedly. Moving water 2 feet deep is enough water to carry most vehicles, even trucks and SUVs, so be aware of the places that flood quickly and avoid these when driving. Do not attempt to cross flowing streams. And when water covers the road, bridges and roadbeds could be washed out, so be careful when driving, and be careful when you're camping outdoors as well, because it may not rain much in your area, but a thunderstorm upstream could cause some flooding. If your vehicle stalls, leave it immediately and head for higher ground, because the waters will continue to rise and it could take your car away. Don't allow children to play around high water, storm drains, or culverts. And National Weather Service has a great motto: turn around, don't drown. Now, how can you stay informed? Before the Super Tuesday outbreak, 6 of the previous 7 deaths occurred while people were sleeping. NOAA Weather Radio is broadcast 24/7 with information directly from the National Weather Service to keep you safe. Weather radios have an alert feature to sound a tone when watches or warnings are issued, and even if you're asleep, it will awake you and alert you of the dangerous conditions immediately. Most weather radios can be set to alert you for the county you live in and a couple counties to the west and south, because that's where most severe weather comes from. And a survey was done in the last 4 years that found most people only heard of the impending weather because friends called them. And if you had a weather radio, this would warn you faster, giving you more lead time to get to safety. Most weather radios are battery powered, so they won't be affected by power outages. They can be purchased at many retail stores, and radio and television stations are good ways to stay informed, as well as cell phone text services that most of them provide. That's it for Severe Weather Awareness Week. Now let's go back to the desk.
Thanks, Zach. Be sure to keep those tips in mind as severe weather season will be coming up just around the corner.
Coming up, military helicopters collide in Arizona.
And world leaders try to find a solution for Somalia.
But first, here's a look at weather with Joshua Cole-Little. Josh?
Thanks, guys. We won't be having any severe weather around. However, we almost had some breaking temperatures. Today we had a high of 81, which almost reached the 83 record temperature. Not only that, but we got a lot of pollen in the air right now. I'll have your full forecast on the other side of the break.
And now, another adventure with Savings Man.
Let's live at the beach.
Let's golf every day.
How about a trip?
Season baseball tickets?
Sounds like you're planning for retirement.
Hey, Savings Man.
Are you saving enough?
We are, thanks to the easy ballpark estimate worksheet at choosetosave.org.
Hope you're saving for health insurance.
Absolutely, because health insurance is important. Thanks, Savings Man.
No, thank you. So visit choosetosave.org and get your ballpark estimate today.
Severe weather can destroy a home in seconds. There's no time to think, only time to act. Have a kit so you're ready for any emergency. Develop a plan for what you and your family will do before disaster strikes. And stay informed during severe weather any way you can. It can be the difference between losing your possessions and losing your life. Just ask the owners of this house. Visit weather.com/ready and let the Weather Channel help you prepare your family for emergencies.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community. Get the resources you need Connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Welcome back. I'm Joshua Cole-Little with a look at your TV 16 weather. What we got for your headlines is tonight we're expecting a little bit warmer night than we've been having, and as we move into tomorrow, we're expecting stronger winds, and for the rest of the weekend, a possible slight cool down in the area. Taking a look at your current for the area. Right now we got about 78 degrees here in the Searcy area with a little bit of strong winds. Those winds will continue on through tomorrow. Everything's looking otherwise very nice outside. We do, however, have a lot of pollen in the air, so you may be feeling some allergies, and that'll be sticking around with us over the next couple days into the weekend. So you may be feeling a little out of the weather for the weekend, but that should be clearing up soon. Looking at your state temperatures, everything's in the upper 70s. A couple places further south are in the 80s. Everything's looking pretty good. Looking at your White County temperatures, things still in the mid 70s. Searcy 78 right now. However, it feels a little bit warmer than that in the area with the real feel out there, about 80 degrees. Looking at tonight's forecast, we are looking at mostly clear skies with a low of 40 degrees with that wind sticking around with us. As we move on into the rest of tonight, we are looking as temperatures dropping pretty rapidly as we head on into midnight, when it gets down to about 48 degrees, and it'll hit 40 a little bit after that. Looking at tomorrow, or the surface map, we are looking at clear skies sticking around in the area. As you can see, this little cold front moving down south of us, so we will be feeling some colder temperatures this weekend. Tomorrow we are looking at still windy sky, or windy, but everything should be very clear with a low of 32. Tomorrow's high 57 degrees, so it'll be feeling very nice out there, just a little breezy as we head on into the rest of the weekend. Looking at your 5-day forecast, we are looking at a very, very nice weekend with some wind sticking around, temperatures in the upper 50s, 60 degrees, and very nice nights as well. However, on Tuesday, we might see a little bit of rain, but that should clear out of the area pretty quickly, and we're looking at a very nice next week, too. Now let's head back to the desk with Amy and Matt. What do you got for us, guys?
Thanks, Josh. The U.S. Marine Corps reported 7 Marines were killed in a mid-air helicopter collision in Yuma, Arizona Wednesday night. Officials say the collision between a Super Cobra and a Huey aircraft happened during a training operation in a remote area of the Marine Corps Air Station. An official said they were training in an area that mimics the terrain of Afghanistan in preparation to deploy there. Authorities are not releasing the names of the Marines killed until families are notified. 6 of the Marines were from Camp Pendleton and 1 was from Yuma. And dozens of homes were damaged in a tornado near Rome, Georgia last night, knocking out power and forcing schools to close. Floyd County Emergency Management Agency Director Scotty Hancock said up to 100 homes suffered damage, and the storm uprooted trees and knocked down power lines across the country. A woman in her 70s was believed to have suffered a heart attack when her home was damaged, and she was pronounced dead at a local hospital. Power was out across the state earlier today, but has been restored.
Political leaders from around the world are meeting in London to figure out a way how to lift a whole country out of despair. The aim of the summit? To inspire a sea change in Somalia. Somalia is wrecked by war, the people have suffered devastating famine, and there's a weak transitional government. The long-term aim will be to help the country move towards peace and democracy, but it's an ambitious goal. The British Prime Minister David Cameron is hosting the conference. Also attending are the U.S. Secretary of State, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the presidents of Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia, and many others. Google is making big changes to its privacy policy, and experts say we should be concerned. The policy allows the company to have a complete profile of everything we do on Google. Dan Simon shows us what is a goldmine of user data for Google may not be so good for our privacy.
In the morning, I check the headlines on Google News. Send some personal email using Google's Gmail. I may check Google Maps for driving directions. Later at work, I remember to do a Google search for plumbers. I also need to do research for this story. More searches. Later, I'll glance at my Google Calendar for appointments. Upload some videos to YouTube, and maybe I'll log on to Google+, the company's growing social network. And some variation of this happens almost every single day.
Google knows almost everything about you.
That's why privacy watchdogs like Peter Eckersley are sounding the alarm about Google's new privacy policy. Beginning next month, the company is going to keep track of your activity across all of its sites and build a profile of you. Google says it will use the information to improve its services. Services where, for example, a user is more likely to get better search results.
We'll understand that when you search for Jaguar, you're looking for a Jaguar.
Critics say the company is stomping on privacy to bolster its advertising and in turn increase its profits.
If there are things that you want to keep private about your life, those records are all in there. If there are things that you actually need to prevent other people from knowing about you, those will be in there.
Those already nervous about the company's influence pounced when it became known last week that Google exploited a known weakness in Apple's Safari browser, bypassing the browser's privacy settings.
When I first found what Google was doing, I thought I had it wrong. I thought I had to have it wrong.
Jonathan Mayer is the Stanford researcher who uncovered the Safari breach. On the surface, he says it may not seem like a serious transgression. Google's code was being used only to target ads, and users' personal information was never collected. But for some, web searches believed to be private were not. And that, Mayer says, opens the door to private information being exposed by rogue employees, internet hacking, and more.
Does it get disclosed because an employee is evil, because the company messes up? Does it get disclosed because the government demands it?
As for the new policy, Google acknowledges that, quote, people have different privacy concerns. Our goal is to be clear about what information we collect so that you can make meaningful choices about how it is used. The bottom line, people use Google because it offers important and useful services that are also free.
At this point, absolutely have to trust Google. And in a sense, on one hand, Google is probably more trustworthy than a lot of these other big technology companies. But because they know so much about us, we have to hold them to a higher standard of trust.
So, Marshall, here we have some basketball games coming up tonight.
We do. Big games on the road for the Lady Bisons and Bisons. We also have some tennis news coming from Brian Petrie and Jeremy Lin news, as always, from the New York Knicks. He'll surprise us in a second, right around the break. Stay with us.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
Travel advisories to small business loans, student loans, to taxes online. Whether you have information to get or ideas to give, USA.gov is the official place to connect with your government. From surplus car auctions to finding a new job, our new mobile apps will keep you updated on the go. So check out USA.gov, because the country runs better when we stay connected.
Big basketball night for Harding down in Monticello tonight. The Lady Bisons start things off at 5:30 in Great American Conference action. Tonight's the first of 2 road games to finish the season for the Lady Bisons. They're 9-5 in the GAC, 3-3 on the road. Harding is sitting in 3rd place, tied with the Ouachita. But OBU playing 13th ranked Arkansas Tech tonight. Things are looking on the upside for the Lady Bisons. Look for sophomore Kristen Seltzer to carry the load in points for Harding, but it's Ariel Saunders in the paint. She led the Lady Bisons on the boards the past 3 games, averaging 11 a game. Forget the rebounds, though. We're looking for a block party tonight. Ariel the Fly Swatter Saunders needs only 9 more blocks to set the single-season record. That's held by Nancy Wilson. She had 42 back in the 91-92 season, so Saunders at 34 right now. We'll keep an eye out for that one. On to the men's game, battling it out for 3rd place tonight, taking on a pretty decent 18-8 Monticello team. The Bisons want that 3rd place spot, mainly for the seeding of the conference tournament, which kicks off March 1st. Whichever team wrestles the spot from the other would take on the number 6 seed in the first round and be on the opposite side of the bracket from conference leaders Arkansas Tech. That would be nice. Harding is a bit bummed up with injuries, with Matt Walters out as well as Spencer and Silverman battling sprains. So we'll see if the Bisons have enough motivation to grab that third spot tonight. Tonight's game will air live in Searcy on KVHU 95.3 FM and HardingSports.com with Billy Morgan and Scott Good on the call. The Harding tennis teams have had much success over the past years, but the teams they have this year are, well, pretty special. Our very own Brian Petrie highlights the Bison tennis teams as they look to build their early success.
Everyone knows preseason rankings don't really mean anything, but there's no argument it's quite an honor. The Lady Bison's tennis team is preseason ranked first overall in GAC standings, and the men are second only to Ouachita Baptist.
Season's looking good. I mean, we're out here just playing, practicing every day. We got 2.5 hours every day.
Junior Adam Edwards says this team is ready to compete.
We got some new guys that came in, a new number one. We got 2 freshmen that are playing top 6. I mean, we're looking good, real good. Probably the best team we've had so far.
Senior Callie Huey has high hopes for both teams, from the number ones all the way to the JV.
We have a really deep team. Like, everybody's been doing really good.
Just a few matches into the season, the women's team stands at 5-2, and the men are a perfect 9-0.
We think every match we have left is winnable with the strength of our team right now. We are not saying that we should necessarily win all of those, but we think we can.
Head coach David Elliott believes he has all the pieces he needs to go out and get another conference championship.
We are by far, in my 40-something years of coaching, it's the strongest men's team I've ever had. So we think we can compete on the national level if we can get there.
The team's next home match will be Monday at 10 o'clock against Stillman College, and as you can see, they're always looking for some support.
Y'all need to come out. It'll be a huge match. It'll be a grind, so we'll see how it goes.
Reporting for TV16 News, I'm Brian Petrie.
Thanks, Brian. Harding had several matches left this season, including one tomorrow at Newman University in Bentonville. You can follow their success at HardingSports.com. Well, Jeremy Lin is shocking us still, and Tiger Woods advances to the second round in Arizona. Here's Headline Sports. The WGC Adventure Match Play at the Ritz-Carlton Club in Arizona got underway yesterday, and all eyes were on Tiger Woods. Woods, who struggled with a bad cold throughout his round, had to use all 18 holes to do away with Gonzalo Fernandez Castano in the first round. Both players battled back and forth, but Tiger sunk a 10-foot par putt on 18 to seal the deal and advance to round 2. Woods faced Nick Watney this afternoon. And to the NBA and the biggest story of the early season, Jeremy Lin and the Knicks didn't miss a beat as they took down the Atlanta Hawks 99-82. Lin scored 17 points and dished out 9 assists. A few hours ago, a Jalen autographed rookie card sold on eBay for over $21,000. The Sudden media star has even filed to trademark the term Linsanity, giving him exclusive rights to put the signature term on all sorts of products. The Knicks have won 9 of 11 games since the Linsanity. The Oklahoma City Thunder love their home court, and why shouldn't they? Going into the game as winners of 10 straight at Chesapeake Energy Arena. The Thunder started strong against the Boston Celtics and never looked back. Russell Westbrook had 31 points and Kevin Durant added 28 as the Thunder beat the Celtics handily 119-104. Kevin Garnett scored 23 points and pulled down 13 rebounds in the Celtics' losing effort. The Los Angeles Lakers, though, and Dallas Mavericks, they locked horns on Wednesday night, and it was the Lakers that came out on top over the defending NBA champs 96-91. It was a close game the whole way, including 10 lead changes by both squads. Andrew Bynum led with 19 points and 14 rebounds in the win for LA.
Thanks, Marshall. Coming up, a lobster the size of a small child, a book club for 3-year-olds, and a baby aardvark is born. We'll have all that and more after the break. Stay with us.
Searcy has been blessed with individuals who have special talents and special needs. They have the ability to bless our lives and teach us how to laugh at the small things. The Sunshine School provides a learning environment especially for them. They serve individuals with developmental disabilities from preschool through adulthood. Students learn in a classroom setting and have the opportunity to participate in all Special Olympics activities. Those at the Sunshine School work hard to bring joy to these students, and they could use your help. These individuals can bring a little more sunshine into your lives, so make a difference in theirs and volunteer today. If you're interested in volunteering at the school, call 501-268-9227. Please join the United Way in helping this ray of sunshine grow.
A new book club in the Miami area gets 3-year-olds reading at an early age. Yes, 3-year-olds. Luann Sorrell takes a look.
I love to read. It's fun to read.
11-year-old Kyer Tavernier and his 9-year-old sister, Inaya, have a passion for reading.
I like to read because when you read, it's like you can use your imagination to bring things to life.
This father of 5 says his children's love of books started at a very young age.
Even when they were in the womb with their mom, I read to my wife and I. We read when they were all in the womb.
The Children's Trust hoping to spread the love of reading to children throughout Miami-Dade County through their new Read to Learn book club. The program allows every 3-year-old in the county to get a book mailed to their home once a month, free of charge.
About 40% of our children arrive at kindergarten and are not ready to learn. By 3rd grade, a third of them are not reading at grade level. 88% of those children will not graduate from high school.
And this is exactly what we need to get these kids to start the school ready to learn.
And it all starts with reading. It all starts with the education of our children. So I'm very supportive of this initiative.
And reading with your children is a gift that will last a lifetime.
It's the beginning of all education, and education is the passport to the future.
A car crash is broadcast live on a local news station. A baby aardvark makes its debut and a lobster the size of a small child. The video that will have you talking is coming up now, and take a look at this.
Take a look at this, a car crash during a live newscast.
When oil and gas prices go up, flight costs go up too, so we could see fewer people driving.
The anchor with WFLA in Tampa pointed out the crash to the reporter on the scene who'd been covering rising fuel costs.
I'm probably shocked by the gas prices.
The reporter later said the drivers in the car and cab that collided suffered only minor injuries. There's a new arrival at Illinois' Brookfield Zoo. This aardvark came into the world January 12th, and it's the first of its kind born at the zoo in 10 years. The little guy, or gal, doesn't have a name yet, mostly because zookeepers won't know if it's male or female for at least a year.
He, as you can see, is very strong and very antsy. He seems to be doing perfectly well.
The zoo says only about 28 of the South African animals can be found in zoos across North America. This giant lobster has found a temporary home at the Maine State Aquarium. The oversized crustacean tips the scales at a whopping 27 pounds. It was caught last week by a shrimp trawler and brought to the aquarium by the Marine Patrol. Plans are to eventually return the lobster to the sea. For Take a Look at This, I'm Andy Rose.
Cute little aardvark right there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us here on TV16's Live at 5. For all your news, sports, and weather, keep it here.
From all of us here at TV16, have a great night.